అయితే బేసిక్ ఇప్పుడు మనము దాంట్లో ఆ టేబుల్స్ డిఫరెంట్ టేబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసాం. ఓకే, సో అప్ టు ఇయర్ I'll keep some. So we have created a couple of tables. First we have created a table. We created some database called testdw. So I created a table called student. Next I created a table called course. Next I created a table called books. Here nothing but student table will have the list of student and it details for the each and every student. A course table will have the list of the courses that my school is. It's a kind of the tables which I am going to build. It's a kind of a university tables. Okay, university has students. So for showing the student details, it has a table called student. Next, university will have some courses, right? For showing the courses details, I will have course table. Next, for showing the list of books, university has libraries. So in the libraries, they will have some books. So before the libraries, I will have some books where, okay, where it will have the list, like it will have the book ID, book name, author, or year of publish, which year the book got published. Okay. Next, I'll have the library table. So library will have the student ID and book to whom that book has been issued. Next, you will have the professor table. Yeah, professor. Professor means it will be the list of professors who are there in the university. So professors will be teaching different courses, right? So here it will have the professor ID and professor course ID. Okay. Next, yeah, I'll have the fee table. From here I need to create, right? I'll have the fee table. Fee table means student will be paying for each course. Student will be in order to register a course, you need to pay the fee, right? So since we are in the university, so basically India means they will be paying a fee yearly. Let's say for every course the student pays. So student ID and course ID for each which year he paid, what is the fee paid, how much is the balance, what is the total fee. Okay, so that's the thing. So next, so I'm altering the tables. Next, I'll have the table called student marks. Okay, this student marks will have the table for each student ID, course ID, year, and marks, which year he completed that course. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm inserting the values into the student table. I think whether we might get some issues or not, I'm not sure. Next, I'll insert the values into the course ID and course name. Okay. Oh. Next, I'll insert the value into the books. It will have the book ID, book name, what is the author name, and what is which year it got published. Next, I'll have a table called library. Library means what is student ID, student name, and that all things will be there, right? Student ID, book ID, and what is the in which date they took it. They took the book. Yeah, I think I had some duplicate records. That's the reason it's saying the primary key constraint. Okay, let's assume. So if you work, so here somewhere I might have repeated the same record because the combination here is the combinations for the student ID is book ID and the student ID and the book number, right? But here what's happening is that I might have inserted the same record somewhere. Okay, that's the reason it is having some issues. So I can do this way: insert into. I can go record by a few records. 9 records it was inserted. Up to here the records were inserted. I'll not save this. Okay, here from here again I'll insert the records. Okay, somewhere it might be because primary key means when you are inserting multiple records, if any one of the record has a issue, all records will not be inserted. 10 records. Okay, let's assume up to here only I'll be giving. Okay, okay, let's say 19 records is fine. There's some issue with the keys only. You can check it if you want because there are many records, so that's why I don't want to take it. It will take some time. So next I'll take the professor ID, course, and year. So just I'll execute this. Okay, done. So now I'm inserting a records into the course table. Accordingly, I'm inserting the data into the course. This is my script which I have created, and I'm inserting data into the fee table also. Done. Okay, so now you need to see in the database. So this is my test database, right? So I'll click here. I'll click on the database diagram because already I created relationship, right? I'll just go to the diagrams. Yes. Okay. In the diagrams, I'll add all the tables. See. By default, when I add, you can see the relationship between each and every table. Can you see this? Are you able to see these diagrams? Okay. These diagrams are created based on the source table. So never you don't create them because if you change anything in the diagram, automatically it will be reflected in the table also. Okay. Yeah. So now I've created a couple of tables. How many tables did I create? 6 tables. Right? I've created 6 tables. Like the tables are fee, student, library, course, professor and books. I can keep this side by here also so that it will be easy to see. Okay, these are the books that I have created. So now what I'll do, I'll take a screenshot or we can do anything. Okay, these are the books that I have created. I'll name it as test DW. Actually, yeah, actually it should not be a test DW. I'm making a test OLAP. Okay, test. Yeah, టేబుల్ ఆల్రెడీ నేను టేబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసేటప్పుడు నేను రిలేషన్షిప్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను కదా, ఫారెన్కి రిలేషన్షిప్స్ అవన్నీ క్రియేట్ చేశాను కదా. యా, కాబట్టి నాకు ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తుందంటే ఇది ఆటోమేటిక్గా నేను టేబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను కాబట్టి నాకు ఇక్కడ ఆటోమేటిక్గా రిలేషన్షిప్ చూపెడుతుంది ఉంది కాబట్టి టేబుల్స్ మధ్య రిలేషన్షిప్. రైట్, అదనమాట. ఓకే, యా, ఎందుకంటే ఇది ఉంది కదా, అలా నేను ఇక్కడ డయాగ్రామ్ని క్రియేట్ చేశాను. ఓకే, ఎస్ అని చెప్పి నేను డయాగ్రామ్ ఏదో అనుకుంటాను OLTP అని చెప్పి. Now done, you got the tables. Okay, you got it. So now what I am going to do, I am going to create one more database. I'll name this as instead of DW, I'll name this as the OLTP. Next, I'll name one more database with the OLAP. Oh, it's taking some time, I think. How much time is it going to take? So until then, I'll close all these windows. Okay, let it be DW. I'll name something called, okay, give me a minute. What was the error it was showing? Oh, it was logged by different user, right? OLTP. Rename failed for detail writer. The execution occurred while executing transfer trigger battery watch. Execute allowed to perform the operation. I think we are using the database. That might be the reason. So just we'll connect to a different database and now we'll rename this. Yeah. See, previously why it was not changed, because we are connecting to this OLTP database, right? We are connecting to the database and we are trying to change. That's the reason it was not changed, because there are some users who are being connected to this database. So that's the reason you can't change. That's the reason I am unable to change it, right? So now I'll go to the, so after that, when I change the database to different one and when I change it, then I was able to do that. So now I'll go to the new database. Now I'll create as test data warehouse. Okay, this will be the test data warehouse. Okay, so now, oh, it already exists. Oh, it was renamed but the property is not changed. Okay, I'll name it as OLAP. test OLAP. So now what I'll do, test OLAP. Now I'll connect to the test OLAP. Now I'll create a tables. Dim student, dim, okay, what is this? Yeah, dim student. Okay. So the dim student data, how I am inserting into the dim student C, insert into dim student, and from where I am getting the data C. I am getting the data from the student. But this student table is there on the OLTP, right? OLTP dot test OLTP. Test OLTP dot DBO dot student. Okay. So I'll be inserting the data into the student from the student table because I am having the data directly. That's it. Next, I'll have the table called dim source, dim course, create table dim course. I'm creating them. I'll show you how the relations exist. So dim course, I'm inserting data into dim course. So it will be the course table, control V from different database, right? Because I created the tables, this source tables in the different database. Yeah. Same with the book also. So okay. Give me a minute. Yeah. Book. And I'll insert the data into the book. And each and everything, see, you can see the ID I have created as the primary key. The ID I have created as a primary key. One more thing you can see, here the ID I have not given the identity. But when I said last time, like prior to this video, I said right, I have given the identity as a key. So now here, I might take that as a, I might take that instead of the, I may call the same as ID also. Okay, it depends on the scenario. Since I'm having this in the source table, I'm having book ID everything as integer, so I can use the same as a ID here. That's the one thing I can do. Okay, but see here for the student table, for the fact table. Now for the fact table here, I'm creating the fact student ID as identity here. See, okay, and you can see insert into fact student marks. So in the fact table, I am not inserting directly into the one table. I am inserting from multiple tables and taking. So I'm combining the fee. Okay. So this will be a good example. So once you load the data, everything. So dim course is from my database itself. You can see the facts and dimension tables. Then you'll be able to see multiple things. How the data we are loading and how the relationship really exists there. Library, done. I have created the library table. I have inserted the data into the library. Okay. So now when I go into the test OLTP, so OLAP is the data warehouse. Here also I'll create a diagram, new database diagram. Yes, I'll add all the tables. Oh, dim course, I think I didn't relate that course to any of that. Fact trend, trend marks. Oh, I need to relate this course key there. Actually, I didn't relate that. Actually, I should relate that course key here. Okay, I should relate this course key to this course key. So all the relationship is here. So yeah. So primary table will be my this one, and the foreign key table will be a course key. Okay. So now you will be seeing the relationship between the tables. So this is my fact table. So fact library is a separate fact library table. It is being related to dim table, and this is a dim course table, and this is my fact cells. So now you can see student table is related to dim student, and this students table is again related to dim course. This fact library is related to dim student, and fact library is related to dim book. And previously in the previous tables there are like 6 tables, but now we denormalize to 5 tables. Okay, normalization means breaking the tables. Denormalization means adding the tables. Okay, so here previously there was separate table for the course and the professor, but here I have added the course and professor in a single table. It's a kind of denormalization. Okay, are you able to get my point? So this is the thing I did in the facts and dimension table. This is the way which I did. So what I'll be doing is that I'll be sending you the code. Okay, I'll mail you the code so that you can directly have that one. So I'll just forward it to you. So after the class I'll forward it to you all. Okay, so this is the way how you will be loading the data into the facts and dimension table. So now I've added the relationship here itself, right? I didn't create relationship, just I've created relationship manually by dragging and dropping the table. Save. Yes, I'll name it as test OL AP. Okay, yeah. So now if I refresh this, if I go to the tables, if I go to the library, okay, here if I go and see the keys, now you can see that course also. I think this is the thing. Let's see the fact table script create to, because that key we added manually, right? That reference between the fact key and the course table. Oh, not this one. I think it's this one. It's a student marks. When I click the create table, now I'll be getting that script which I have created. Yeah, I didn't create anything relation between the fact student and course table, right? So I manually created in the diagram, so automatically it got updated here. See, okay, course key. Okay, relation between this table fact student marks and the dim course. There was no relationship when I created the diagram. When I opened the diagram, right, I manually added that one. So by default it was shown here. See, dim course and the fact students. This course ID, previously there was no relationship between the dim course and fact. When I added all the tables, I manually added this two relationship between them, right? So when I added, automatically that is being reflected here. The change is being reflected and the code has been created here. Okay, you can see the code here, or even that you can also see by looking at the fact strings. I'll refresh this table. When I see the constraints, I'll see the constraint mapping to, sorry, keys. I'll add the key map to that dim course here. See, fact string mask dim course. Automatically it is created when I updated the diagram. Okay, so this is the way how you can do them. Are you able to get my points? So always see the fact data has only the IDs, year, marks, fee paid and fee due. That's it. It doesn't have any descriptions. But where the fact library, it also has the data for the student ID, book ID, date of issue and date of renewal. Let's say I want to count how many number of books has been issued for this for different students from this date to this date. So by looking at the date of issue, you can do that. Okay, you can see like how many students didn't return the books. Okay, you will do that. If the date of renewal or submit is null, it means that student didn't submit the book. Okay, then what happens? Then you can say, okay, this is the total number of books that student didn't return us. So accordingly you can plan. Okay, so now here you can see that all the different kind of things. So you can go to each and every table and have a look. So when you run the script, the only issue you will be getting is that when you insert the data into the library, there in some records you will be having the issue. Okay. Yeah. When I insert the data into the library, so listen, when I insert the data into the library, insert record by record so that you know exactly which record has the issue, and ignore that record and issue insert the rest of the records. Okay. So this is the way how you will be. See here, I got the what is the total number of tables? I got 5 tables. But in the OLTP, how many tables did I get here? I got 6 tables. Oh, sorry, it's a 7 tables. Okay, not even 5. It's a 7 tables. Okay, I got 7 tables here. When I convert them the 7 tables, I'm just making it as a 5 table. So you are again denormalizing the tables and storing them. That is nothing but the facts and dimensions. So you can see it here. The fact table I am naming it as a fact underscore fact and table name. Dimension table I am giving as a dim as a prefix. For the fact tables I am giving as a FCT as a prefix. Okay. For the normal tables I am not at all giving. And you can see the adventure works also for sample. Okay. Adventure works are given the default. So this is adventure works date. It is a, without, see, when you go and search in Google, right? If you just have adventure works 2012, it is nothing but the OLTP. Okay. Now when I click, see, you got directly table names. Okay. When I go to the data warehouse, this will have the facts and dimension table. See, all the tables are related as a whether it is showed as a fact table or dimension table. See, fact call center, dimension scenario. So when I click the dim scenario, okay, you'll have the scenario name like WhereCat types. Whenever I click the dim sales, you'll have the WhereCat types here. See, sales alternate key name, but you don't have any fact data here. If I click any of the fact data, then I will have the fact data here. See, wage type, calls, total number of calls you made, total number of operators, orders, issue raised, average time, okay, service grade, like that. Okay. So always the fact table will have the data where it can be calculated. See, average rate and end of the day rate. Fact finance. See, you can see there is no description CLC. Okay. The only thing it has is IDs and it has a amount. That's it. It doesn't have any descriptions. You can see all the fact tables. See, none of the fact table has any WhereCat data types. Like it doesn't have any descriptions or anything. It only has the integers or currency type. Okay. So here it is having the WhereCat type. I think yeah, it is a tracking number. It's not any description, right? Customer PO number. They might want what the total number of tracking numbers they did for that particular. They will count that based on the tracking number. Okay. So like that, you can see like this. Okay, you will be having many stuff here. See, whenever you see everything is in the data, fact data only. All the fact table is having the fact data. When you see the dimensions, whichever dimension you see, it will have the descriptions. If I see the customers, it will also have the descriptions. Now see the dim date. I said that dim date. It is important. Every 99.9999% the tables will have the dim dates. So when I open the dim dates and see the columns, you can see full date, date number of the week, English day name, Spanish day name, day number of the month, day number of the year, week number of the year. If I do the top 1000 rows, you can also get online the script. See, this is the date key, date, full date, alternate key, number of DC, English week name, okay, Spanish, French, day number of the month. It's the first month, so you got it. Okay, it's from July 1, right? 2005 July 1. So the number of days, number of day of the year, it's 182. Week number of the year, English month name. Okay, like that you can have calendar year, whichever you want, you can have it here. See, July 6 goes under the fiscal year 2006. So that's the reason they are giving the fiscal year 2006 here. Okay, are you able to get my point? So this is the way how you are going to have the facts. So whenever you want to load the data into the dimension tables, like facts and dimensions, okay, you have seen, right? See the script how I am loading. Okay, see the script how I am loading here. I want to load the data into the this. Let's assume I want to load the data into the fact student mark. Student is an student key, course key, but student ID and course key. Okay, this effect fact student ID is identity. There is no need for me to insert. So student ID means I need to get from the student table, dim student ID. So basically I get the student ID. So what I'm doing here, I'm joining with the student table, okay, and I'm getting the student ID from the student table. And if I want to get the fee ID, then I'm joining with the fee table and getting the fee ID. Okay, not fee paid. No, just I'm getting the fee pay. That's it. I'm removing this year and that course ID column, and I'm joining with the course table to get the course ID. Okay, so how I'm doing that, you need to see. See, I'm reducing this fee and student marks into a single table. Okay, I'm loading that into the single table for that fee and student marks. Okay, I'm denormalizing them. So accordingly, you can see here now I'm combining the fees and student marks table into a single one. So you can see here test OLTP. So I'm adding a table called student. Student are the columns for student ID, student name, address. Sorry, fee and marks, right? Okay. Yeah. So the table called fee. You got student ID, course ID here, fee paid, fee balance, total fee. Fee paid, fee balance. I'm not at all taking the total fee here. Okay. Fee paid and fee balance. Then after that, I'm also combining the what are the tables I combine here? Fee and marks. Student marks. So student marks table C. Okay, student ID, student year marks. That's it. So I'm combining the two tables in a single table here. Okay. So like that, you need to go and look at them. Are you able to get my point? So here see, I'm joining here. Here I am joining the direct table, but here see dim. In order to get the course ID, I am joining the dim table. Okay. అర్థమైందా మీ అందరికి ఇది? అంటే కొద్దిగా మీరు ఒకసారి టేబుల్స్ని బాగా అబ్జర్వ్ చేయండి, క్రియేట్ చేసుకొని మీ దాంట్లో ఒక్కోటి క్రియేట్ చేసి ఒకసారి బాగా అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే మీకు క్లియర్ స్ట్రక్చర్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఇలా క్రియేట్ చేసామా మనం డీనార్మలైజ్ టేబుల్స్ అని చెప్పి. ఓకే, యా, ఐఎమ్ స్టాపింగ్ ద వీడియో.